really try and stay out of shit, but y'all are stirring a pot I feel the need to season. To my followers, this is black business. If you are not black, please don't put your 2 cents in it. You see, the motherfuckers that wrote the Willie Lynch letters hated women in general. So of course, when they put that little part in there about, oh, put the woman at the head of the house and you'll have a weaker man, it's because they just thought of women as weaker in general. So that shows your miseducation right there. And you said something as horrible as stop the breeding of feminine men in the black community. I'm sorry, please stop blaming black women for your hatred in men that are in balance with themselves. Yes, I said it, they're balanced. You see, real black warriors, real black men back then, real kings and shit, when they were in touch with their divine feminine and masculine, it was considered balance. It wasn't considered gay, which is really what you're alluding to, which feels like homophobia, but I'll try and leave that shit alone a little bit. They were considered more powerful and capable leaders. And last time I checked, it wasn't feminine black men that were over-sexualizing black women, beating on black women for not respecting them, and raping black women when they couldn't get their way. Should we talk about this masses handed down misogyny that you're trying to instill on the internet? The agenda never had anything to do with gay men. The agenda has always been knowledge. How far will they go to educate themselves after we misconstrue the information that they're fucking reading? And you would think that you would know that by how much they try and keep us divided right now. What would be the fastest way to pin the black man against the black woman? Uh-huh.
Now, this is the problem with the modern black woman. She is very uneducated, spewing nonsense all over the world. She is psycho. This lady on TikTok has 800,000 followers, telling people shit that is not science based. It is scientifically proven that if a woman is head of household, the house collapse. It is proven without the father in the household, men, especially when you're raising boys, they tend to be less successful, they tend to be less educated, they tend to be less masculine, and they tend to be I've had women and men tell me, I've heard a Gemini very recently tell me, I can tell if a man is raised by his mother instead of having a father. He usually is overly emotional. He usually is very combative. He usually is very catty. He usually is very, very, very unemotional. We don't need more feminine black men. We need more. The problem is they took our alpha men out of the community who are men. They took the trades out of the community that gave you a job, that give men economical sound and balance out of the community. The modern woman is promoting the fact that if the woman is head of household, and let me tell you, give you something straight, the average woman does not want to be head of household. The average woman, even if she's a high income, high value woman, the woman usually, let me tell you something, especially watching Kevin Samuels, right? What all the women who come on his show, the women usually want the man. I was gonna write it down so you can see it. Usually, the woman wants the man over her, income wise, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. She wants him over. She wants him over her. Meaning, and let's just talk economics. Most women want a man who's making more than them. That's called hypergamy, right? Most women want men who are better than them. And that when I say better than them, here's what I mean. They are in a capacity to do something that puts them in a position to follow. So this woman is promoting with her 800,000 followers. Yo, men don't need to leave the house. And I'm telling you, that's the product of almost 50 plus, 40, 50 plus years of women being the head of household. Nowhere, 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 nowhere do you see it being highly successful. And I mean in performance and competition with other countries are the men not leading. Women don't want to lead. Women want to be in leadership position. Let me tell you what the difference is. Women want to have leadership capabilities like a CFO. And my mother, coming from a two-parent household, used to say that shit all the fucking time. She said, "Yo, I'm the CFO. Your father's the CEO. He gets the last word. He gets the last decision. If and he is the CEO because we all have his last name, right? But all the decisions come through me. If I don't approve, me and your father have to come to a common ground, but he gets the last foot on. If your father's not fucking with it, your father's not fucking with it. But I'm the CFO. But in the same respect, if the CFO really doesn't fuck with it, if the CEO can't do it because she could probably have an insight that could fuck with the family, it could fuck with the family, if you don't have a certain balance and perspective, right? So we're going to get into this video because this video is highly inaccurate and it's highly misleading because it will lead you to think we need more feminine men. And I think one point she said in the letter is that the Willie Lynch said later, so we need to stop breeding in fact, we need to stop breeding feminine men. I think that's false. Just from an intuitive standpoint, I'm feeling that it really meant, and I haven't done my full research yet, and I probably am. I'm gonna come back and make a part 2 of this video because this video is fucking ridiculous. She said, "Yo, the Willie Lynch letter said, stop breeding effeminate men." I think that's not what that. Just knowing white supremacy, that's not what it is. I think it's really easy. Stop breeding masculine men. Start breeding feminine men. Every time you see, and I promise you, every time you see a single mother raising boys, he's probably more feminine than he should be. That doesn't, and she made a one valid point. Men who are balanced between their masculine and feminine energy are the most powerful, which is great. But men, your power is not in your feminine, it's in your masculine. You are not a woman. You are not, your home, like my home, is not in the feminine. I have a house there, meaning I go there, I collect tools, I learn, I become, I incorporate, I inhabit, I do all of the things to merge and balance the energy. But as soon as I learn everything I need to learn, I go back home to the masculine. I say, all right, so this is how we can do better. This is what I learned from the feminine, and this is how I do better. But this whole narrative of women should be leading is bullshit. And I'm not saying women shouldn't be in leadership positions. I'm not saying women shouldn't have their own careers. I'm not saying women shouldn't have their own businesses. They shouldn't have their own. They shouldn't be paid right, etc., etc. But nowhere in the world do you see, from Rome to right now, the more you see women leading, the more you see a falling of society. Again, that does not mean women should not have the balance of the feminine energy in this masculine world. We should. But to say women lead, I think you need to study more feminine energy. Feminine energy does not incorporate leadership initially. They incorporate leadership afterwards. After getting what's necessary, they find out where they need to lead. But the masculine energy says from jump, you gotta lead. It don't matter if you have the tools, if you don't, boy, and I've been there so many different times. It don't matter. Okay, the leadership has a dark component to it of mastering the unknown, going into the unknown. Women or the feminine energy usually are not encompassed of going into the unknown. I've seen it so many times with women. They don't want to do what is unknown to them. Men usually do that. That's why I say women are usually not the ones to create legacy. Men are. So with the more young men you make feminine, the less legacies you have for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 generations. Because usually women don't want to do the building up, and the sustaining at the same time. Is too much. Women say that all the time, where it's like, yo, this whole, I gotta nurture the kid, raise the kid, feed the kid, clothe the kid, love the kid, reinforce the kid, do all the shit mothers are supposed to do. And then on top of that, give him something. I'm supposed to provide for him 10 to 8. I'm supposed to build a business for him, not to go work for somebody else. That's too much. I ain't got time for that. It's too much. How many single mothers are providing legacies for their children? Meaning, I'll give you an example. How many single mothers are, by the time that you 18, you have land for you, you have income, you have money for you saved, meaning your mom put over $100,000 aside, minimum. Your mom has something that she worked for that she can pass down to you. Most single mothers or mothers leading the household are not doing that. 1 million, according to blackdemographics.com, 1 million women, black women, are single mothers and under the poverty line. 1 million. Not 100,000, not 20,000, not 30,000, not 40,000. 1 million black women are under the poverty line as single mothers leading their household. 1 million. So you telling me that's working for us? Nowhere in the world does that work. We're gonna get into this video. All right, we're gonna get into it because that video, she blocked me, so I had to get deep into it. The problem with the modern day black woman, right? One, like I said earlier, putting the woman at the head of the household, it doesn't work. And you like she said, where she said, "Oh, men, they hate women, granted, whatever," right? But when you put the woman at the head of a household, it's psychological. Because if you put a woman in a masculine role, she will make the boys she raised weaker. Because she cannot raise them to be men. She'll raise them to be women, which means she will make them up something that they are not, which is weaker than them. You get me? You feel me? Men are not going to grow up to be women. And that's where the whole gay agenda is coming in, because you can eliminate the man and say you can eliminate the strong, masculine, heterosexual man and then insert whatever. Right? Two, statistically, you get weaker boys. Why? Because women do not raise boys to be men. Period. Statistically speaking, single parent households under single mothers or fathers are usually going to jail more often. 3, women usually raise men who lead with their emotions. You cannot teach a boy, a woman cannot teach a boy to be stoic. She cannot teach him to be grounded. She cannot teach him to be to control his sexual hormones, because here's just off that alone, because she does not have the hormones of a man. He has testosterone. He has something that initially wants to move him forward in some shape, way, or form. He's gonna find a way. And women don't know what that's like. They are the receivers. 3, single mother households are usually and most likely to fail in life, whether it be the children, the legacy. And usually single mothers don't pass down no legacy. They don't pass down no structure. They don't build down. They don't set down no balance. Usually, in a single mother household, it is extremely unbalanced. Unbalanced. Two, women women are the weaker the physical vessel, and don't hold up economically together. And what that means is women don't create jobs. Women are the biggest consumers of the economy. What else? And they are the physical weaker. If the family falls, they usually don't blame the male, but usually when the family falls, you look to the male first, and then the female. You usually don't look to the mother first when the family is failing. Usually, let me see. Let me see. She also said, the whole notion of stop breeding, because I really think this is wrong from what she says. Stop the breeding of feminine men. Okay, so here's my biggest issue with that concept. Feminine men are the problem. And here's what I mean by it. One of the reasons why black women say they are the most unprotected, and unvalued, because they are raising, not only it is systematic, it's not the woman's fault. Like in other words, she designed it this way, but she was put in a position to raise men to be effeminate or emasculate them naturally, right? And when you're breeding these feminine men, the problem with that is, how do women feel protected around a feminine man? That does not mean he cannot be masculine, but a woman cannot, because, like, put it like this, it eliminates the law of gender, right? So that means everything is feminine and masculine, right? If you both have two feminine people together, they usually do a whole bunch of clashing. There's no balance. So the reason why a feminine man is a huge problem in our community, because there's no balance. So how is our women supposed to be protected and valued if there's no balance of energy? Meaning there's a masculine and a feminine. How is she supposed to act in her feminine state if there's no masculine men protecting her from danger, giving orders, giving instruction, giving discipline? There's the feminine LGBTQ community, who are perpetuating their sexual preference all over the place, is a huge problem and threat to the black man, who is not even in his fullest position, systematically and otherwise, to defend the natural order of women. So how can a woman really trust a man if he is just as feminine as her? Where do you do that at? But I can go on and on about that topic. We're not going to talk about it too much deeper than that. Feminine men, don't protect the children. Feminine women don't create healthy boys into masculine men who don't create masculine men. And I'm not saying men who don't know how to be vulnerable, don't know how to be in tune with their femininity. That's not the same thing as an effeminate man. There is a huge agenda right now to have the effeminate man in society. That's why everything is misogynistic. Everything's about, oh, he hates women and blah, 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 blah. And all this bullshit. I'm not saying there is no authentic rhetoric that is about making women lesser or not equal, or putting you in a position where you can be controlled or oppressed or manipulated. But Don't disregard the natural order of society because you want to feel liberated. Or how some would say, a whore or a slut. Now, I'm all for sexual freedom. I'm all for it. But there's a lot of false notion in these things, in being a sacred whore or being a slut, without any real responsibility or any real respect for gender roles and masculine and feminine energy, and no real respect for the laws of gender. Like, we throw this out. This is my problem. Don't be a slut or a whore to not understand the law of gender. The agenda is gay men. The gay or LGBTQ community just got a bill passed under Obama's administration and Biden's administration, while not one law for black men that being killed in the street by rampantly and aggressively, or for the black community, not one fucking law. I really, like I said earlier, I really think the Willie Lynch matter mean eliminate the man, create a feminized man, and let the woman be head of household to create weaker men. Because without the man, you have no structure, you have no discipline, meaning the ability to follow one's command. That's why our boys are out of order, because they're not following. I've seen this live and direct. Boys usually do not listen to their mothers. They don't listen to their mothers after a while, because they're men. Their brains don't operate the same way. They lack structure, they lack discipline, they lack discernment, emotional management. They lack grounding, the ability to know, to be able to stand in the truth of doing for self, because the man will teach you are to do for self at all times. And this rhetoric of women need to be head of household, and she perpetuating the fact that, because, and this is why this bothered me so much, because it's on a falsehood that ignoring this system, to say it's misogyny to think that women shouldn't be head of household. They should not be. Name me a woman who's truly in tune with her feminine nature that wants to be head of household. I don't know one. Who has a man, a happily masculine man, and a feminine woman that wants to be head of household. I don't know one. Only people who were led by single mothers approve women should be head of household. And let me say it, and it's like this. And single mothers or single fathers most likely produce children and who are functional. You know how everybody says, I came out fine. You didn't come out fine. You came out functional. Single moms produce functional adults. That doesn't mean they're fine. That doesn't mean they're able to compete. It doesn't mean they're able to dominate. It doesn't mean anything. It just means they're able to be functional. They can operate accordingly.